and welcome to another episode of Laying Down the Lore 40K, a lore podcast in which we aim to separate our Necrons from our Night Lords, our Psychers from our Servitors, and our Orcs from our Old Ones, and generally ask, what's up with this 40K stuff? My name is Ben Crumbarber, and while I used to know pretty much fuck all about 40K, I now know very little. With me is my co-host, Christopher Crowlin Allen.
Shalom.
Who, despite years of valiant effort, still knows next to nothing.
Yeah.
Sure. And my dear brother Darren.
What?
Who knows so much about Warhammer, it's frankly disturbing. This dichotomy between our levels of understanding is why we're all here, as this series is an attempt to address that ignorance.
Or is it arousing? It might be
No.
arousing.
Your hair's got a quiff in the... It's going in the opposite direction today.
He's the yin to your yang, Ben.
Yes, yeah.
Put your yang away.
It's a medical condition. I'll have you know.
I have a condition.
Yeah.
I'm yang positive, actually.
I can't do it on my fly. Yeah.
Can't do up my fly because it's shaped like that.
That's the thing. Yeah. Everyone hydrating today?
Ah,
I bet this is the one that nobody brought anything to, and I'm just...
oh, no.
Nice.
Hydration was so last year, Ben.
It was, yeah.
No. We're into just cotton mouth now.
I'm actually hydrating now.
Very modern.
There's a tube up my arse as well.
It's connected to a small foot pump, which I'm just gently pumping.
Small.
Don't bring any needles near me.
I've developed this propensity to squirt stuff like a squid and then escape.
When you're nervous or aroused.
I wouldn't suggest it at dinner parties.
Or angry.
Or
Basically any emotion.
yeah.
He squirts.
Not bored.
You okay, hon?
Is Dara all right? He just hopped up on the table, shat, and ran out the room.
He's okay. Just give him 10 minutes. He's fine. Just needs to cool.
Right, enough of this shit. Literally.
Wow. Okay.
Today we're going to talk about the C'tan, or more correctly, the shards of the C'tan. Also known as the star gods of the Necrons, the slippery star vampires, the mercurial masticators, and Robert Patrick.
Giant gesticulators.
Robert Pattinson. Yeah, right.
No, Robert Patrick, the actor who played the silvery Terminator in Terminator 2, you doof.
Robert Pattinson would have been far better. Let's just assume you mean Robert Pattinson, okay? I'll just leave
you know
that
what they say.
image
You
out.
know what they say about assume, Ben? You cunt.
If you assume, you get a Robert Pattinson. Yeah.
Is that how you want sparkly vampires? No, wait, I've messed that up. Do you want sparkly vampires? Because that's how you get sparkly vampires. Yeah.
Hello, sparkly vampire.
And strangely disassociated teenage girls played by 40-year-old women. I don't know why I sighed there. That's damning.
I have no comments on that.
Can anyone remember anything about the... Shut up, Crow! Can anyone remember anything about the C'tan? Mr. Crow, you may speak.
May I talk now, Darren? Is that all right? May I talk?
Yes, but you've got to do it a couple of octaves higher.
Yeah.
Were the C'tan the scapegoats? Didn't the Inquisition blame the C'tan for everything that went wrong with the Badab War?
Wow.
No.
Okay, I'm going to wait.
Ben?
Wrong memory.
So the C'tan were literally star-devouring kind of entities. That the Necron, who were just having a bit of a fucking rough time of it, weren't they? They lived on a planet that was just constantly irradiated, very short lifespans.
Remember their homeworld, Cancer 7. Yeah.
Cancer 7, exactly, It's no laughing matter, despite the fact I'm laughing. And then they made a deal with them to basically give them immortality. And the star gods tricked them and basically consumed all of their souls and then put something back into a kind of Tin Man sort of frame, and then they were basically slaves.
See what I have to deal with,
C'tan.
viewers and listeners?
Oh,
The C'tan.
yeah. So the C'tan, Darren, they were a race of star beings on some sort of thing that Ben said.
Leave him, he's cooking. Okay.
Yeah. Come back to him in an hour once you've told him.
So, yes. So, they were little more than kind of reflective star predators. Gary Glitter. Anyway, so the...
I think you mean Robert Patterson.
Carry the two. And while the Necrontyr were short-lived, they were kind of technologically advanced, and they ultimately recognized that not only did the C'tan exist, but they were able to kind of entice them down into a physical form using this stuff called necrodermis, which is a living metal, hence the Robert Patrick reference, not the Robert Patterson reference, at the start of this ill-fated episode. So it is a living metal which is constantly able to repair and reform itself, which is good because the staggering amount of energy that's produced or is a C'tan constantly erodes and destroys whatever is trying to contain it. Foreshadowing! Once encased in their necrodermis bodies, the C'tan discovered something far more satisfying than the kind of interstellar energy of stellar bodies.
Was it Kinder Buenos?
Boosts, actually. Smart ass. Thanks for stepping on my joke.
Fantastic treats in their own right.
They discovered that the soul energy, as Ben quite rightly said at the start here, was far more satisfying than the just generic off-brand Aldi special stellar energy that was blasted out. You know, it's common. Everyone has it. Why is it a treat?
Yeah.
And so they tricked the entire Necron race into a process known as biotransference, where they extracted the personality and soul from the Necron, from the biological Necron, and then transferred some of it into these metallic bodies, and then they devoured the rest. And as we discussed in, I think it's episodes 28 and 29, where we kind of look at the Necrons. Why am I holding this? The more higher ranking got to retain more of their personality, with Zarek, the Silent King, the ruler of the Necrons, got to retain almost his complete personality and soul. And then as you go down the kind of ranks, you get to the very bottom, which are just space gerbils, basically, in a robot body. Mr. Kral.
So the C'tan are in the business of stealing people's personalities out of them.
Their soul energy, yes.
Their soul energy. Not their personality. So not like my quick wit and charm.
No.
If wishing made it so.
Yeah.
No, it's enough of their soul that it affects their personality, Kral.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like,
okay, so they can get traits of it, if you like.
Yeah,
they won't turn into Kral, but they could do some
Can you imagine?
Kral callbacks.
A star-devouring god-sized version of Kral.
I don't have to imagine it. I'm looking at it right now.
Hi. Hi there.
So with the guys at the bottom of the tier that, as you say, were kind of space gerbils, what are we talking, like 80-20? Did they leave 20% of them and
5%?
5%.
Maybe even 2%. Yeah.
Whereas with the king, they just had a little nibble and then
just a bit around the edges. Yeah. Yeah.
Licked him a bit and then on his way.
Left the crusts. No crusts.
Yeah,
no crusts.
He's completely the same, except he's forgotten the entire concept of Tuesdays.
Yeah, he's forgotten the entire plot of Twilight.
whatever that is. And so the C'tan, eventually the C'tan and their Necrony subjects were involved in the War of Heaven. So this is the great battle with the Old Ones who were trying to destroy the C'tan and were successful in doing so a couple of times. So that they could regain control of effectively the universe. As this was happening, or towards the end of it, the Necrons realized that they had merely traded one form of slavery, biological slavery, for another via the C'tan, the devouring of their souls by the C'tan. And so under the command of Zarek, the Silent King, do you remember the guy on the big kind of throne? The Necrons rebelled against the C'tan after the war in heaven had ended. So if we have a look at image 1...
Yikes.
That is a modern image, modern in quotes, of the Necrons versus the Eldar, and you can see in the background a shard of a C'tan. Looks like the Grim Reaper because that's what he looks like. So that is a shard of the C'tan, and from the distance here, you can see it's fucking massive.
Okay.
And is a centerpiece miniature because there is a miniature for I think we have miniatures for 4 C'tan at the moment, and we'll get to them. If you have a look at image 2, that is a representation of the Silent King at the end of the War in Heaven, as he's destroying what's referred to as the Apostles, the kind of faithful Necron leaders who supported the C'tan. So he's polishing them off there, which I think is just a really evocative piece of artwork there done by a person called LJ Coe. I really like that bit of artwork. Mr. You.
You're going to have to bear with me. I'm really going to have to get my head around this. That's the Silent King on image 2.
In the center,
globe of power, sucking the whatever life juice out of the weapon of that thing. That is not a Necron. That is a C'tan. That is the Silent King.
No,
that is the Silent.
Everything, with the exception of one thing, which is the green glowing figure in the kind of top right, trapped in a matrix. That is that is a shard of a C'tan. Every other character that you can see there is a Necron.
Okay, yes, they look Necron-y. If it looks like a Necron, it is a Necron. Got it, okay.
Yeah.
The Silent King is a Necron,
Yes, he is the lead Necron. So this is an image from like 70 million years ago in the Warhammer world. Sorry, Mr. Krell.
No, good. And the Silent King in this image is fucking murking other Necrons that serve the C'tan. The betrayed Necron? Is that the idea?
Yes, they're like the high priest. So the Silent King and his followers are destroying the status quo, the established power structures within the Necron empire by destroying their gods because they realized that the gods were draining. They were strawpedoing the entire culture. And so they went about destroying any C'tan that still existed, and they were reduced. Served them. Yeah, and so you can't actually destroy a Necron, a C'tan. I've got to stop confusing those two things now. You can't destroy a C'tan. You can shatter their form, and so hence the term shards of a C'tan. So each of the miniatures and pieces of art we'll see are a fraction, a facet of an original C'tan. And there are more than one of each of them because there has to be, because they exploded. Mr. Quiff.
Krell 2. 2 questions. Are the priests, as you say, in this image, I remember you saying that there was the kind of Silent King and then there was a bunch of kind of lesser kings of the kind of
triarchs.
Tribes. The
that
triarchs,
kind of thing. Yeah.
Is that what these guys are?
Triarchs.
No,
No.
The tryhards, exactly right, Kral. No, these are like the high priests of C'tanness.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so a C'tan would have its own kind of following amongst the
I see.
the Necrons.
Okay.
Because they controlled them.
So you actually had multiple different C'tans perhaps worshipped as, a kind of tribal figurehead, as it were.
As the gods they were, yeah.
Right, okay, yeah. And the other thing was
like... Silent King was like... No, go on, Karen.
When you've got the C'tan in their original form, their kind of nebulous, ethereal form, are they as much of a threat? Do they have to be in the kind of necrodermis form to kind of actually do it?
Great question. When they were pure energy, they could only interact with their food stuff. And so having a necrodermis allowed them to interact with the corporeal universe.
Understood. Cool.
Yep. So the Necrons could not, as I said, truly destroy most of the C'tan because they were almost kind of fundamental universal beings tied to kind of the laws of reality themselves. And we see echoes of that down through the lore. And I will explain what that means when we get to it. Instead, shattered them into fragments, as I say, known as the shards, C'tan Shards or Shards of the C'tan. And these fragments retained portions of the original god's personality, memories, and power. And so the Necrons had to use, and to some extent the old ones as well, because there were some C'tan that were vaped by the old ones. Vaporized? No, vaped. They
Vape.
There was a smell of weirdly sweet apple, and then suddenly no Stargo. So they used incomprehensibly advanced and devastating weapons, like hyperdimensional style weaponry, reality severing kind of fields of blades. And weapons capable of, and this was my favorite bit when going back through the lore, weapons capable of attacking conceptual existence itself.
Oh, it's all very hipster, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like destroying the concept of triangles.
Yeah.
So not only do triangles not exist, they never existed in our concept of things. Nothing has three sides.
Does that make it a conceptual weapon? Is the weapon a concept?
No, the weapon destroys concepts. Yeah.
There you go. That's the weapon in action right there.
So it is.
Brain.
Christopher
Allen. Yeah.
All we have to do is believe it doesn't work, and it won't work.
And there's an orc. Yeah.
There's a role-playing game called Exalted. It's one of my favorite role-playing games. The mechanics are a bit like impenetrable, but the story's fantastic. And
it's a bit Cones of Dunshire, isn't it?
No, it wishes it was that. Yeah. No, what we're seeing here is a replication of kind of Greek and ancient myths, where there were creators of the universe, and then they created servants to serve them, and then the servants rebelled and destroyed the master. So it's that eternal kind of generational conflict. Right. But in Exalted, there's the originals were called the Primordials, and one of the Primordials, when they were attacked, released like spheres of fire, and the fire burned concepts from reality. So the reality that they, and thus we, inhabit now is 50% of what there was. So
wow.
And we don't have, it was burned so completely that we don't have an understanding of what we've lost, because it feels whole. Yeah. So that's the level of weaponry we're talking about.
Just imagine the power of wielding that. You'd be like, I'm going to destroy the concept of cleaning the dishes.
Yeah, that's why you don't get power.
Maybe that's what inventors in our own world are doing. They're keying into some concept that was already. We actually had them years ago. We just forgot. Like they just some fucking bastard god came in and burned them out.
So with these weapons, what they did was they destroyed the necrodermis, or they destroyed the connections between chunks of the necrodermis, which meant that as the C'tan were pure energy, each surviving shard contains a section of that energy. So there is a dilution of their power. It's still like startlingly powerful, and we'll cover that shortly. But you ended up with these kind of amorphous blobs floating in space that were eventually captured by the Necrons and others. So each resulting shard retained a level of self-awareness and sentience. It's the identity of the original, its original version, but also a mixture of hunger and rage because it was destroyed. And so it has some memory of a life before containment, as it were. And all of these still retain a staggering amount of power. The Necrons also ultimately created quite complex containment facilities to hold these very dangerous beings. If you have a look at image 3, that is the shard of a C'tan in a containment facility. So you can see it's no bueno. You wouldn't want to be in that thing. Yeah.
I have no idea what I'm looking at, so he could be having a great time.
Yeah, I see lightning and fire, and which is the C'tan, which is the containment element.
So the shard is the physical being. So you can see a humanoid presence in the center of the pillar of fire. That is the shard of the C'tan.
Mm-hmm.
Everything coming out of it is its tantrum.
Yeah, got it. Okay, so that's its anger at being the lightning and the flames coming out of it, or its power basically manifested.
Well, that's because if you recall, it said already that the necrodermis is constantly repairing itself. This is why, because the energy of the C'tan is constantly trying to escape, both in terms of when it was whole, and now especially when it's a shard, because there is less necrodermis around it.
Okay, so that is a C'tan containment unit and all that.
Sorry, no, it isn't. That's what it looks like inside a C'tan containment. It's that level of energy. There are no real images of that I can show you. That's the kind of indication of the power of a shard of the C'tan. And so it will look like that inside a containment facility as well. So it's a kind of...
I feel like I'm smart enough to comprehend what the C'tan are. It's like,
you will by the end of it, mate. You will by the end of
it. All right.
So Necrons ultimately have imprisoned these shards in things called the Tesseract Labyrinths, which sounds enormous, but is actually a Hellraiser cube. That's what it looks like. And so it contains it within complicated maths and quantum physics. So it is a physical prison, but the actual thing that keeps it inside is conceptual mathematics and maybe interpretive dance. They also have Tesseract Vaults, and these are larger vehicular-sized containment vessels that contain something called transcendent shards. So there are individual shards, and then there are transcendent shards, and those are where 10, 20, 100 separate shards have been smooshed together of the same...
The shard of shards.
The shard of shards of the same C'tan, and then it's contained within a specialized facility. So if we have a look at images 4 and 5... so that's a vehicle, that's a miniature you can have on the table, which is effectively a Necron-style monolith, or a version of a Necron monolith that contains a transcendent C'tan shard in the center, and that's the wee green guy in there. He's not that wee. And then in image 5, that is the kind of canopic construct that's constantly changing like the frequency that the prison is operating at, and adding or removing energy to be able to constantly stop the C'tan from escaping, because its energy is burning through not only its necrodermis, but its own reality as well. Mr. Crow.
This is, what kind of Tesseract is this? This is the Uber Tesseract. The Tesseract.
That's a Tesseract Vault, yeah.
Vault, okay, right.
Yeah.
And that is used, is that the only way that the C'tan can, guess, move and operate? Or is it like some sort of armor? Or is it a vehicle, like you say, for them to get around? What do they use it for again?
It's a prison. So what it is, it's used to contain the more powerful shard conglomerations of a given C'tan. Because if it was released, it would destroy everything around it, possibly within a system.
Got it.
Because we're dealing with that level of startling power. So the functions of the Tesseract prisons, we'll call them, they kind of fold higher dimensional space in on itself. They isolating the shard from kind of normal space-time and kind of quantum level existence, and continually suppresses the energy output, kind of redirects it back in on itself. So the more energy the shard puts out, the stronger its prison becomes. So it's kind of doing that, was it the judo thing or the kung fu thing, which is using your opponent's energy against it. I don't know what that was. It felt racist, that's why I stopped.
Judo, hello.
Yeah. So
is this a buffing thing? Is that why they would have it kind of in a battlefield? Does it apply?
Yes, it is buffing. It also does direct attacks, sometimes on a conceptual level. So it would like destroy the very concept of Crow.
Impossible.
Oh, no, I can't fight.
So is this a Necron weapon at this point?
Yes. Yeah.
Got it.
That's how it's used. Yeah.
So jumping ahead a little bit here, but like the C'tan are not a race in themselves, at least on the tabletop. They are a Necron unit at this point in time.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Exactly right.
Yeah,
exactly right.
Necron slave unit.
So within these Tesseract prisons, they're not kind of restrained physically, as it were. They're kind of mathematically trapped within engineered dimensions. It's certainly how I felt whenever I've had to sit a math exam. And so a major point of this, and kind of reading between the lines here, is that the C'tan were never fully defeated. So they still exist. Some are loose. Some of the shards are still out there. By no means have all the shards been captured and imprisoned. But every single shard still carries the kind of arrogance and hunger of the original Star God, of the Robert Patricks. With some shards even attempt to consume other shards in an attempt to rebuild themselves completely to the C'tan they once were. Mr. Ben.
When we say shards, do we just mean that as in a piece of them? Or I guess in my head I'm thinking like a fucking sliver of like a crystal or something. What's their actual form? Are they kind of amorphous or?
They're a sliver of themselves.
They are, imagine if we shattered Kral's physical form. So instead of like chunks of meat, there are now hundreds, possibly thousands of mini tiny Krals running around. So they're a complete, they are a portion, sometimes a very small, sometimes large portion of the original necrodermis and energy that the Star God had, and it exists as a miniature representation of that Star God. And now I'm using the word miniature. Some of these things are fucking enormous. As we'll see. So
you can just call me Crown. You don't have to call me Star God. It's fine. Yeah. It's okay.
Trust me, that's not what we call you. And so, even in this diminished state, the shards can still they have, as I said, staggering power. They can manipulate time and space. They disintegrate matter and kind of erase enemies completely from existence. They can alter kind of gravity and the physics of planets and reshape kind of landscapes, and in some instances, whole planets on the go. They have the capacity to psychologically influence others, either controlling their mind or just making them shit themselves. And so a shard's limits are often kind of psychological rather than physical. It may possess near limitless energy, but it sort of lacks the total awareness that it once had of how to use that energy, if you see what I mean. So it's very much like one of the 17 versions of Daddy Longlegs, where they have really strong venom, but they've shit teeth.
Right. Yeah. All the power, none of the...
All the power.
Implementation.
So I mentioned the transcendent... I almost said transcendent Kral. Right. C'tan and Kral are interchangeable. These are, as I said, especially dangerous because they are conglomerations of many shards fused together, probably by pushing, and some number or some are comprised of dozens, if not hundreds, of original fragments, which now exist as a single, more powerful fragment. And because they gain awareness and energy with each kind of mushing, they have a larger understanding of what they used to be, and so are able to access more of that power that's within every shard. And so they are like star gods on a smaller scale, Kral. And if you have a look at image 6, that is a transcendent Kral taking on a Tyranid bio-titan and will handily defeat it.
Wow.
That's a great image done by a chap called Mike Lim.
Very cool.
And so you can also have this transcendent C'tan existing on the tabletop as its own miniature. And so if you have a look at image 7, that's what it looks like. Wiggly Kral. Yeah. And eagle-eyed viewers
about it.
Yeah. Eagle-eyed viewers will notice that it is the same miniature from the heart of the vehicle in image 4.
And are they? I mean, are they assuming the human form that we see there because they, went into the necrodermis on to kind of communicate with the Necrontyr? Is it the Necrontyr's form that we're seeing them in? Yeah.
So they have a humanoid form, much like the Necrontyr. Yeah.
Right. Hench. Real hench.
So because some of the larger transcendent C'tan are so unstable, the Necrons then contain them within those Tesseract Vaults, which is that vehicle we saw, supported by the canoptic construct, the spidery squiddy lad on top of them, in image 5.
Hard to take them seriously with the spiders running on their head. Like,
dude, you've got some...
Yeah. So there's a constant battle of energy, maths, and concepts between the C'tan and the actual Tesseract Vault itself, keeping it imprisoned while the Star God effectively tries to rip its way out and kind of achieve freedom and possibly, I don't know, shopping. So the importance of the C'tan in 40k outside of the sort of generalized kind of Necron or tabletop lore is that they represent an entirely different type of cosmic horror threat than, say, for instance, the Chaos Gods. And so unlike warp entities, the C'tan are now creatures of the physical universe and exist there without, being able to be banished as such. And they kind of embody this eldritch horror style consumption and kind of mechanical coldness within the universe. They simply don't care. They just want to be free and want to feed. That's it. Mr. Ben.
Can they be destroyed fully? And if not, is there an argument that the Necrontyr, the Necrons have some sort of benefit to existing? Like, if the Imperium kill all the Necrons, what are they going to do about the C'tan, I guess, would be the question.
You suddenly touch with a needle the hubris of the Imperium, of this manifest destiny that whatever the citizens of the Imperium do is authorized by the Emperor, and thus they own the galaxy and everything in it, and so can open doors that perhaps should not be opened. But yes, there have been a few occasions where whole C'tan have been destroyed, and where shards have been degraded to the point where they might as well be destroyed. We'll touch on some of them momentarily. So for the universe and sort of our eagle eye, where we, as the gamers and readers and what have yous of 40k, the shards represent a sort of broken, shattered divinity and the enslaved gods of myth, hearkening way back to the old ones. So all of these things existed when the old ones existed, and really represent the kind of the consequences of hubris, I suppose, of these beings that felt that they could do anything.
Tale as old as time.
Tale as old as time. Yeah. And so why do they matter within the lore itself, outside of broad concepts, is that they are, even the weakest shard is the same power as a greater demon. And so transcendent shard, once you get enough of them together, are somewhere between a demon prince, a greater demon or demon prince, and a chaos god, a minor chaos god. That's the levels of power we're talking about. When these things were whole and kind of stalked the universe within their necrodermis thing, they were as gods. They were the pantheon of the Necrontyr. That's the thing we have to keep in mind. They are gods in the kind of strictest sense of the word.
Is there any mention of how many there were at their kind of peak before the Necrontyr rebelled?
Yeah, there's no hard number, but there is at least 20 kind of named. But there are the implication, or some of the implications within the lore, is that the C'tan as was may or may not have been gods of other races as well.
Cool. Okay.
Or viewed as gods of other races. And there's two concepts, two C'tan we'll look at, which definitely had an impact on the human race as well, in kind of earlier in development.
Exciting.
They are, at minimum, they are Primarch level threats to enemies. So they operate at that kind of power level, and can indeed turn the tide of a planetary battle by themselves. And yet these are merely fragments. So if we have a look at image 8, that's a shard of something called the Nightbringer, and that's it taking on Deathwatch Astartes. And that's not a transcendent shard. That is just a shard of the Nightbringer. And you can see its size,
slither,
and its power
just
level.
A slither.
Yeah.
It has
How
lasers.
the fuck would you even approach attacking that thing?
Yeah.
I mean, you're just going to waste Space Marines with that. Yeah, all right.
A magnet hammer.
Yeah.
Some sort of orbital bombardment, I think, is the only thing that's going to level
an old dial-up
modem.
Field. That'll fuck with his mind.
So,
the galaxy is changing. Empires will rise. Stars will fade. The only question is, will you still be here to see it? Introducing biotransference.
Trademark.
A revolutionary new future for the Necrontyr. Brought to you by your trusted partner, Mr. C'tan.
Hi, I'm Mr. C'tan. You might remember me from other ads such as, Are These My Memories? Dude, Where's My Soul? And You Can Definitely Trust Us, C'tan Shards Incorporated. With biotransference, Trademark. You can leave your fragile flesh and embrace a body of living metal. No disease, no pain, just endless opportunities.
Before biotransference, I expected to die before my grandchild grew up. Now I can watch entire civilizations evolve, collapse, and be forgotten. Or sleep for millions of years.
Thousands of dynasties have already chosen a brighter tomorrow. So why spend your final years trapped in that failing body when forever is in your grasp?
Biotransference.
Trademark.
Go on. What's the worst that can happen?
When these things appeared in the game for the first time, it was 3rd edition, which saw the introduction of Necrons, an actual codex for the Necrons. They had appeared as a kind of little small army list at the end of 2nd edition. But the Necrons we know and love started in earnest in 3rd edition, and that's where the only 2 special named characters they had, the Nightbringer and the Deceiver, were both referenced as C'tan rather than Shards of C'tan at that time. If you have a look at image 9, that is the original miniature for the Nightbringer. I had both of these images. Or both of these images, yeah. I've got them. I'm showing them to you. No, I had both of the miniatures.
No one likes to brag, Darren. Jesus.
These were the most fiddly fucking things to put together, especially the Nightbringer and his scythe.
Right.
Yeah, just an absolute nightmare. Yeah. And then image 10 is the Deceiver. So these were both referenced
boy, doesn't he?
as these were both referenced as C'tan. They had no weapons, despite their appearance. It was all special rules and special types of attack. And so these were monstrous creatures within the game. They had rules for necrodermis, for self-repairing and invulnerability. They had rules for the different types of abilities they were able to extend. So the Nightbringer was all about fear and terror and direct, like he had the gaze of death, that kind of thing. The Deceiver was all about trickery and moving stuff around during the deployment phase and being able to create copies of itself so it could escape from combat without getting hit. And confusing enemy troops. So it was very much changing the environment within which the Necron armies fought, but they were fairly handy in close combat as well. We've seen as the Necron codices have evolved, so too have the rules. And up until recently, they were still classed as just being a special character with no equipment, no weapons. They just had this kind of natural terror and environmental attacks, in quotes, and capacity to influence psychologically your enemies in there. Mr. Krall.
Yeah, you said there are rules for invulnerability. Discuss.
Yeah. So invulnerable saves were a thing way back as far as 1st edition, really. Were they? No. Yes.
So invulnerability as long as you rolled it. You passed the roll.
Yes. There's ignore all wounds on a 4+ of a D6 roll. So with the more modern versions of rules for the C'tan, they half the damage they get from attacks. When they're attacked, it's only half the damage goes through, and then you can roll a dice or a number of dice for each wound or each attack, and then the invulnerability save gets rid of it. So in general, statistically, you'll only get a quarter of the damage from any weapon, regardless of how powerful it is. And
Wow.
that's the defensive capacity of not only Necrodermis, but the C'tan energy as well. So what we'll do is we'll batter through some of the types of shards that exist. There are 4 that you can wield on the tabletop. We've seen one already, the Transcendent Shard. We won't really cover that in any detail, but we'll have a look at the kind of 3 C'tan or shards you can field, and also some of the other ones, more interesting ones from the lore. So the first one is the Nightbringer. So if we have a look back at image 9, that's the original model. Now look at image 11. And that's the new model for the Nightbringer.
Zap.
That's like,
zap, zap.
yeah, that base is the size of a CD, I believe. So it's a centerpiece miniature. So it's the same. It's roughly the same kind of scale as the Nagash miniature from Fantasy Battle and Age of Sigmar. This being is referred to as the Nightbringer. Yeah, you say it to its face. See what happens.
Sorry, mate. It looks like your scythe's going to snap off very easily.
Yeah. Oh, don't get me started on the fucking scythe. The Nightbringer, known as Azagorod, which was its original C'tani name, it's worshipped by the Necrons, who ultimately shattered it into countless shards, and this being is said to have caused so much slaughter across the galaxy during the war in heaven that it has subconsciously come to be associated with death itself. That's why it looks like the Grim Reaper, and that's why we think it looks like the Grim Reaper. Because on some fundamental level of existence, we all recognize it as death, as the conceptual entity of death. Mr. Kral.
Yep, sorry, just looking at holistically here, just trying to get my little Crow brain around the concept of C'tan. The C'tan were essentially enemies of the Necrons. The Necrons managed to capture / defeat a lot of the C'tan and wield their power. So they are now classed as Necron on the tabletop. When you field Necrons, C'tan are basically a unit of Necrons. You also just mentioned that this is the
Nightbringer.
The Nightbringer. The Necrons worship the Nightbringer. So despite them dominating the C'tan, they still worship the C'tan like gods?
No.
They still revere
not at
them?
all.
They don't?
No.
Right, okay, fine.
No. Yeah, so before the Necrons destroyed and imprisoned the shards of the C'tan, the C'tan itself was, yes, worshipped not only by the Necrontyr, but also embodied some conceptual element across the galaxy as it moved around destroying things. Specifically, the Nightbringer became associated with death on a genetic level, almost, a genetic memory within other races. So that's why they view it as that. Perhaps at the time, other races did worship the C'tan as its own weird kind of entity, but the Necrons don't. They despise and fear the C'tan in equal measure, which is why they go to so much trouble to contain them. Or when they release them, they release only the smallest shards of them to do their bidding.
So is that, just on that point then, is that what we're looking at there? It's I guess there's 2 questions there. Is this just a released C'tan shard that has been released strategically by the Necrons? And the follow-up question, what's stopping it turning around and, like, why is it fighting on behalf of the Necrons?
Because it's still controlled. So you have the priesthood, as it were, who are able to control the reality within which the C'tan thinks it exists.
Wow. Okay.
Got it. It's still imprisoned.
Yes, and also that is, as I understand it,
leash.
that is a single shard. It's not transcendent.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the weakest version of that god or of that star.
So it's like a wild dog on a leash, kind of thing.
Yes, exactly right. Yeah. In battle, as we can see, it wields a great, huge phase scythe. And not only that, it radiates fear, the fear associated with, that we associate with death, and psychic dread amongst even the most hardened of warriors. It is, as you can see, they are surrounded by scarabs, Necron scarabs, which may be repairing the necrodermis as it's moving through the battlefield. Interestingly, with a heavy dose of foreshadowing, during the War in Heaven, it was actually the Eldari god Kayla Mencha Kane who fought the Nightbringer and shattered its physical body.
Thanks, Eldari.
And in a kind of famous storyline revolving around the fourth company of the Ultramarines, even Space Marines and a Space Marine company struggled to survive against its near unstoppable power. And this refers to like the Battle of Pavonis, which was in a book called Nightbringer, where it was discovered that there was a Necron tomb complex beneath the surface of this Imperial world, and it had unintentionally awakened this shard of the Nightbringer during a campaign against kind of the forces of chaos or a chaos cult on that planet. And the shard manipulated events from within the tomb and within the shadows of the world, spreading sort of madness, fear, and death across the planet while exploiting the kind of political unrest and civil conflict within the Imperial government, and held a godlike level of power over the mortals on the planet. And though the Ultramarines and their captain Uriel Ventress, if we have a look at image 13, that is a famous Ultramarine captain, Uriel Ventress, seen here smelling how much bullets are left in his gun.
All the ammo.
Yeah, and so while they eventually succeeded in containing the threat, it resulted in catastrophic losses on all sides, and foreshadowed the kind of awakening of these Necron star gods, as was, in addition to the Necrons themselves. So, yeah, not a great time on the battle of, or the planet of Pavonis. So if we have a look at image 12, I really like this. This gives you an idea of the presence, the psychological presence of the Nightbringer within the 40k world. Mr. Crowell.
Are those bolt rounds doing any damage?
They will be sloughing off chunks of necrodermis.
Okay.
These things can physically be destroyed. In earlier editions, it's a great question because it leads on to, in earlier editions, when the being is actually destroyed, the energy release is so immediate and sudden and powerful that units near it can also be destroyed at the same time. So it explodes with hilarious consequences.
What's the point cost for having one of these guys on the battlefield?
They're on or around 250 points, but they can, in the right conditions, take out an enormous amount of points of other troops.
That seems really, really low considering how powerful they are. Like,
high risk, high reward with these guys?
Can be, yeah. It depends on how you use them. I mean, the Deathbringer, you use that really to break mass infantry armies. Experts in Necron gaming, I understand. I'm trying to summarize here. With there's one that specializes in destroying vehicles. There's one that specializes in disrupting the kind of psychology and magic or psychic powers within the game. So there are horses for courses within the shards, and depending on what effect you want, you can largely swap these things out. There's about a 25-30 point difference between them all that you can use. The Transcendent one, I think, is the most expensive because it has, it takes on all comers rather than the more specialized versions of these other C'tan. Mr. Ben.
Just the final one on that. Is there a limit to how many of these guys you can have in a single army?
I don't believe so. But I'm not. I'm not au fait with the 10th edition and indeed the 9th edition of 40k. They can be. Oh fuck! I forgot what the term is. A Lord of War. So you may have in perhaps 8th edition and 7th edition. If you're using the kind of standard organizational chart, you only have the capacity to take one.
Okay.
And there's good lore reasons why you wouldn't have two on the battlefield, because they would just attack each other. The victor would absorb the other one and become more powerful. And then you've got, you're in for a bad time.
They just make out with each other. I don't know where that came from, Darren. I'm sorry. Carry on.
Yeah, I know exactly where that came from. The second of the original C'tan was the Deceiver. Again, look back to image 10 there. That's the only miniature that exists for that mini at this time. So if you have a look at image 14, that's the kind of original piece of artwork that came with it in the 3rd edition codex. It's known as the Deceiver, also known as Mephet Ran, and is the star god of lies, manipulation, deception, and trickery. It was the Deceiver that convinced the Necrontyr to undergo biotransference. So this was the, perhaps not architect, but it was the marketing specialist for torpedoing an entire culture. Unlike the brute force of the Nightbringer, the Deceiver prefers to, deceive and manipulate events in the background, indirectly, sowing distrusts, and even during the War in Heaven, turning Necron against turning C'tan against C'tan, resulting in,
it was a real
feeding into the failure of their war in general. After the War in Heaven, once the Deceiver was shattered, it was imprisoned immediately within Tesseract Labyrinths, the small kind of Hellraiser cubes. So there's like a Cenobite-y feel about this. So if you unlock a Tesseract Labyrinth, a Deceiver can pop out, much like Pinhead in the movies.
Right.
In modern lore, it still remains incredibly dangerous. And even individual shards have, a Zinchian level of manipulative intellect. And this does involve them self-deceiving, because many of these shards still think they control the very Necrons that enslave them. And so if you haven't guessed already, this is where the human concept or the galactic concept of the devil, this trickster god,
cool.
And adversary of all good things comes from, and is, as I say, quite effective on the battlefield, even though the miniature harkens back to the 90s. I suspect it'll be updated in the near future. We want to now look at the 4th and final C'tan Shard that has a miniature, and this is the Void Dragon. So if you have a look at images 15 and 16, this is again a staggeringly large miniature within the 40k range, and indeed again a centerpiece miniature for the Necron forces. Original name was Magladroth, and is one of the most powerful surviving C'tan star gods in their shard form. And it's associated with technology, machines, destruction in general rather than death, and has mastery over the material universe. According to Eldari myth, it was during the War in Heaven that the Eldari smith god Vol attempted to forge powerful weapons capable of resisting and destroying the C'tan. And the most legendary of these were the Blackstone fortresses, which were supposedly designed to be able to not only weaken their necrodermis, but destroy and drain the energy within these entities. So if we have a look at images 17 and 18, 17, that's a Blackstone fortress as introduced in the Battlefleet Gothic naval combat, space combat game.
Cool.
Built primarily of something called Noctilith, known as Blackstone. These fortresses are like moon-sized or smaller fortresses designed to be able to draw out some of the Necron or C'tan's power and then be able to redirect that as a destructive blast to be able to, well, destroy them, I suppose. And this kind of construction of these Blackstone fortresses really feeds into this narrative that it was the Eldari who were the chief kind of warriors taking it to the Necrons and their C'tan star gods during the War in Heaven, and kind of further underlines that this may have been evidence that Vol, the Eldari forge god, was in fact an old one, rather than a manifestation of kind of Eldar belief in forgery. Smithing. So yeah, image 18 there is the interior of a Blackstone fortress, which I'm also using here to kind of illustrate what it's like inside one of the Tesseract Labyrinths, the small little cubes. It's very TARDIS-y, as in it's immensely bigger internally than it is externally. And you see the little kind of robot guys floating around. Those are spindle drones, which maintain it. They have this similar role as the canoptic machines of the Necron forces, but they also don't look Eldari at all. So while it may have been worshipped as an Eldari god, it wasn't. It doesn't look like it was an Eldari god at all.
So the Blackstone Fortress is an Eldari construction?
Is a construction by the Eldari god Vol.
Right, okay.
Which the Necron now use.
No, the Necrons don't use it at all. It's used to destroy the Necrons. God, Crown's really confused, isn't he?
Yeah,
I love it.
I'm trying though. I'm trying.
Yeah.
Yeah, God loves a try.
Yeah, man.
So Blackstone fortresses constructed by Vol, who was more than likely an old one, the enemy of the Necron and the C'tan. The interior there, the design aesthetic
designed by MC Escher, it looks like. Yep.
Exactly right. With the same effect.
Going downstairs.
And with the little robot guys floating around, those don't look Eldari. They look like something else, which may be old one. And these installations, introduced in the Battlefleet Gothic game, I think there was 6 in the Gothic sector, were used to weaken and destroy the C'tan and their Necron forces.
Amazing.
Yeah. Got it. By the Eldari.
By the Eldari. What effect, Darren, I hear you cry, does the Void Dragon have on humanity? We've already seen the conceptual representation of death and the trickster god, Loki, Satan. I can't think of an ex-girlfriend's name. Anyway, yes, the Void Dragon is believed by some to be linked to the origins of the Omnissiah, of the machine god of the Adeptus Mechanicus, or Mechanicum as was. It is believed that there is a large shard imprisoned beneath Mars itself in something called the Noctis Labyrinthus, which is an underground canyon system within Mars. During the War in Heaven, the Void Dragon was used to create devastating technologies to add to the already kind of substantive technologies the Necrons had through biotransference, and ultimately converted Blackstone, the Noctilith stuff, into an anti-warp entity asset for the Necrons as well, rather than just it being used against the C'tan by the old ones. So it subverted that technology, and it was used, if you can recall, about Cadia, the planet that was near the Eye of Terror. You remember the Eye of Terror? There was one kind of safe passage out of it. Oh, as you're looking at it, it was going that way. And Cadia was there. Cadia and the surrounding planets were dotted with enormous monoliths of Blackstone. And that stopped the warp from crossing over into corporeal universe at that time. Yeah, it feels weird skirting over this may be the Omnissiah thing. But yeah, that may be
by the way, it might be the
God.
Omnissiah. Moving on.
Yeah.
Was that, and I may be kind of breaking protocol here, but was that referred to at the end of the book Mechanicum in the Horus Heresy series? I kind of vaguely read it years ago, but I
honestly I can't remember. So
okay.
let's say yes.
Okay.
Excellent. There is a fourth named C'tan, which may still exist outside of the kind of galaxy, and this is the Outsider. Sarnoga or Sarnoga. It was named as, and it was very much an incredibly powerful god that supposedly dwells within this kind of massive Dyson sphere structure of the Necrons and indeed the C'tan. And it is a maddened C'tan at this stage, as in it is insane. As much as a star god can be insane. And it is believed that it was the Harlequins' god themselves that tricked the Outsider into consuming other C'tan within the War in Heaven, which ultimately drove it insane as it absorbed the full other C'tan and shards of other C'tan, mixing personalities in with itself. So it's constantly arguing and is kind of constantly at the edge of just destruction and suicide. And that's what it kind of emanates out from its physical being. This sense of despair and madness and suicidal feelings for any living being that comes near it. And so thankfully, it's not in the universe at the moment, although there's an argument to be made that some traces of it exists. That's it for the surviving C'tan shards, the ones that have their own personality, have retained their personality. There are others mentioned in the lore. We mentioned the Hlangdugor. Do you remember the Flayer? The one that was destroyed, but as it was destroyed, it reached out and infected a clan or I've forgotten the name. A dynasty with the Flayer virus. And so if you have a look at image 19, that's the one that these are the Necrons that are driven to consume the bodies of their enemies and wear their skin. So they've been effectively ghouls they've been turned into.
Did it convince them that they were the Necrontyr again? Is that why they're trying to look like more human than they are?
They sort of do, yes, but they are driven in a kind of cannibalistic hunger, a drive to consume the living. And that's the kind of parting death gift of Hlangdugor, the Welsh.
You say gift.
C'tan.
I say curse.
I say awesome. Yeah.
The final one we'll talk about today is Yigarash Yigragnya, the World Shaper. Igranya? Yeah,
Sure.
let's
Enya.
say that one. Enya.
Okay.
Oh, not Enya. We can't talk about Enya for legal reasons. This is the C'tan who ultimately created or ruled a massive Necron construct world that became known as the World Engine. This is the Necron Death Star, or C'tan Death Star. Like the other C'tan, obviously, eventually betrayed and shattered into shards by the Silent King. But a major shard of the C'tan, Igranya, Enya, continued to power this massive world engine as it advanced towards Mars during, I think it's the Deimos campaign, or I might be confusing it. It was moving towards Mars to be able to annihilate the actual planet, but also to attempt to wake up the Void Dragon shard that was beneath the surface of Mars. Yes, it was a different shard that was then appeared during the second battle of Damnos, where it devastated both Necron and Imperial forces as it was trying to open up massive chasms across the planet. But once again, Cato Sicarius, the Asterix of the Ultramarines, banished it, was able to banish it into the warp with a vortex grenade. But if you have a look at image 20, that is the kind of level of violence that is in and around C'tan, or C'tan Shards within most of the kind of lore-based battles.
Pew, 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 pew.
Pew, 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 pew.
Amazing.
There are other named C'tan within the universe, and I'm thinking most recently of Zarhulash, which was mentioned in the novel about Belisarius Cawl, who was tricked into kind of aiding Belisarius Cawl, but then, much like in the movie Fantastic Four, was teleported across the known galaxy to be able to keep the world safe. So numerous other C'tan shards exist, some named, most unnamed, but today we've looked at the kind of 4 big ones that you can field on the tabletop. Yeah. That's it. That kind of ended with a damp squib. I'm sorry there. Everyone look at image 8 again. C'tan.
Ta-da!
I'll put the shits up here. Yeah, there we go.
Question.
Yes.
Looking at the last picture of the war scene, and there is a shard in that containment unit that's fighting against the Imperium, it looks like.
Yeah.
Is there a risk of the enemy going up against that shard, or the Necrons destroying the containment unit and releasing the shard, and then everyone's fucked?
Yes. It's a real problem.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
But are the Imperium aware of that, or are they just like fucking destroy
Fuck it?
Just
as with most things in the Imperium, some people will be aware of the danger they represent. Most will have no fucking clue.
Yeah, just burn it with fire and let's get out of here.
Yeah. What's the worst that could happen?
I have written a small list of questions because I could see you were on a flow there, and I didn't want to disrupt you. So you can answer these in a quick fire manner if you choose.
Go.
Has a C'tan ever escaped from Necron containment?
Yes.
Okay, wow. Has a C'tan ever been fully reformed again? Like you're talking about kind of transcend. Okay, so they've never. Would it be advisable? Yeah, would you do it? Would you want to do it as an?
Oh, absolutely not. You're talking about releasing a being that's akin to like another Chaos God level power, who is now firmly irritated by everything. And their main enemy, the ones that cause them the most problem, the Eldari, are now a diminished race. So you would see hot Necron on C'tan action. So it could be destroyed again, but it would take multiple dynasties to be able to do that. And the Necron dynasties are so fractured at the minute, vying for power since the Silent King destroyed the kind of obedience protocols, that it's probably unlikely they would be able to muster the troops.
Right. So if you found all of the jigsaw pieces of a single C'tan, here's two questions. Do the Necrons have the technology, like we see in that last image, to contain a whole one? Oh, and if they don't, would they just separate it into separate, even though they have a whole one in their possession, they would put it in little, smaller containment jobbies?
Yeah, jars. So, no and yes. They don't have the technology to, or rather, there are so many different shards dotted around so many different parts of the galaxy that they may not have found them all.
Right, okay.
So they don't have 100, say for instance, the Nightbringer, they don't have 100% of the Nightbringer in containment fields.
Right. So still kicking around somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, final one then. Barrel bash style death match. C'tan versus Emperor.
Emperor during the Great Crusade.
Yeah, Emperor at his peak.
Oh, C'tan all day, every day.
So it didn't really matter what my answer to that question was.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
It doesn't even matter which C'tan.
Right.
Okay. Garboth the Ineffectual would win against the...
C'tan versus... Well, I guess Primarch would be... But you were saying Primarch versus C'tan Shard.
Yeah.
Yes. 50-50.
Ooh, okay. Well, that's interesting. C'tan versus
Chaos God.
Chaos Gods,
Chaos God would win that one.
Chaos God. And what about C'tan versus, I think you mentioned the Harlequin God? Yeah.
Tesseract?
We're talking...
Hell, well done, mate.
What are we talking about? We're talking... It wouldn't be a physical confrontation, so probably Tesseract.
Right. It would be in the warp. Is that...
no. The C'tan have nothing to do with the warp. They have no interest in the warp. They view it as an irritation more than anything else. We're talking about tricking, trickster, illusionist. The ultimate ever ongoing battle would be the Deceiver versus Tesseract.
Cool.
Because it's two Lokis fighting against each other.
Just constant misdirection. And
yeah.
Get a bit boring.
God, that would be annoying, wouldn't it?
Just someone hit each other like fucking hell. Yeah. Right, okay.
Oh, you did hit me? Or did you?
So who's the most powerful of the named shards? Void Dragon?
It's horses for courses, really. It looks, it's the best anti-vehicle unit you can have. Arguably in the game. Arguably.
It just Dr. Manhattan's it. Just
effectively. It's got so many anti-armor weaponry and anti-armor abilities that it would destroy regiments of tanks. Even the weakest of shards would destroy regiments of tanks, unless they could all fire at once.
Which they can't.
Yeah, difficult to... I think I really like the look of the Deathbringer, but then you may not believe it, viewers, but I'm pretty gothy. So
it's true.
Warning, goth. This is what happens.
This is the direction you're going.
I'm a Void Dragon fan. The Void Dragon looks fucking dope.
I would have had you as more of a trickster crow.
I am a trickster, but aesthetically.
Yeah. I think I'm sort of with Dar on this. I think the Deathbringer... I think that the great thing about the Deathbringer is in the model, the cloak is digitized. So it gives that real feeling of it kind of almost emerging out of some sort of digital
being
realms.
rendered into reality.
Yeah. Very bit crushing.
Speaking of being rendered into reality, I've got to go.
He's got to go, guys. We got to say goodbye. Right.
I gotta go to work.
See ya.
I'm sorry, dude.
All right,
This is your
all from
work.
us. Thank you so much for listening. I didn't even say that properly. Thank you so much for listening. If you want more 40k content, just hit the Patreon link in the description and sign up today to listen to our bonus show 40k and listen to the ad-free, uncut version of this episode. Hydrate, everybody. Everybody, just take a moment to hydrate. Okay. Ooh, gingery. All for me, £5. Details and imagery for the topics we have discussed in this show can be found on our website at layingdownthelore.com, where we also have all our previous episodes, release schedules, and merch. You can also now join.
Bye.
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 See ya.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
We'll see you again soon. Goodbye.
Maybe. Bye.
Love you. Bye. I gotta go to work.